Each person in this room and those who will watch the video has had a different journey with LHON. The first panel today is to provide various perspectives, living with it a long time, short time, as a mom, a carrier, an affected man, affected woman, son, daughter, sister, brother, in the US, outside the US, unaffected spouse, LHON plus, only person in the family affected, one of many, affected in elementary school, high school, college, working, not working. What about sports? What about relationships? Everyone tends to feel isolated and alone when first confronted by LHON. The purpose of the panel we're about to have is to show people that they're not alone. Personally, my LHON journey, I'm an LHON mom. The oldest of my 3 kids was affected about 5.5 years ago at the age of 19. We struggled to get a diagnosis. We had months of very deep emotional pain. I felt like I was racing to stay one step ahead of his needs, medically, emotionally, practically, education, financial, assistive technology, sports. I was racing to figure out what did he need in each of these areas. And as I captured this information, my friends all said, Lissa, you should write a book. And I decided that books cost money, and the world of LHON was very fluid, and so I decided instead I should write a website, because that would be free for people to access and easier for me to update, because I felt I was going to be learning day by day. So I created LHON.org, and there I posted all the information that I'd learned and wished I'd known when Jeremy was affected and I felt like I was drowning and alone. I tried to include various points of view. I had read, there was a Yahoo group, there still is, and at the time my son was affected, it was the only place in town that I could find where there was information about, from people who had family members affected by LHON. And Jim Leader, would you stand up? Many people in the LHON community know of Jim Leader. He was the person who had a great website and Yahoo group, and a lot of us shared information there before Facebook was even on the radar. And I read every post that had ever been posted on his Yahoo group, captured information, and tried to synthesize it and speak not only for myself, but for what I was learning from other people who'd been on this journey, and then shared that on LHON.org. I also included a registration page to make connections, figuring that it would be helpful for people to come into the community and connect. I wasn't quite sure where it would go, but it seemed like a good idea. When I first set up the registration page, I would connect with somebody from New Hampshire, and I'd go, oh, I know somebody in Pennsylvania, you can connect. Now I can connect with somebody from Pennsylvania and introduce them to 10 people. Do you want to meet someone young, old, male, female? And there's just so many people in the community now that the connections are getting tighter and tighter, which is really great. Not only am I an LHON mom, I'm also an LHON carrier kids mom, which has different implications on life. I have a son who was 14 when his brother suddenly lost his vision. He's now a freshman in college, and as we all know, that means he's also carrying the LHON mutation. He's at risk of sudden vision loss, and being a mother to a son like that, it has certain issues. I have a daughter. She was 17 at the time. She's graduating from college next week, but her first question, when we figured out that what caused Jeremy's vision loss was LHON, she's like, Mommy, does that mean I can ever have kids? And I think that's a question a lot of us in the room have thought about, wondered, and we've had to, address that, and those issues will come up in conversation today. How does each individual answer that question, and what are the scientific and medical issues that inform that choice and the personal choices? And I'm glad I wasn't the first one to have my phone go off. We'll let someone else take that, and we can all turn ours off. It's good to have a reminder. I'm also an LHON 11778 carrier. And again, I thought I was safe. When this first happened, I started reading the literature, and the literature said if you're over 50, you're safe, pretty much. The risk is very low. Safe's probably overstating it, but it said the risk is very low. And it also said for women, it's rare. Okay, well, I was over 50, I was a woman, I figured I'm fine. And then the first 50-year-old woman registered with LHON.org, and I thought I'd been punched in the stomach. Everything I believed to be true was taken away, and I suddenly realized this isn't just about my affected son. It's not about my other children. It's actually about me also. And I started learning that what's normal for LHON women isn't necessarily the same as what's normal for men. And what does that mean for me personally? And what do I need to consider in my own lifestyle choices? I had to think that through. So that was a learning for me also. I'm also an LHON fundraiser. I got started on a path of wanting to support those folks who are doing research in this area, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the day. I was inspired by some folks in the room, and that's a whole nother story. Well, again, we'll get to that later. I also consider myself an LHON ambassador. I think we've all gotten to that point where people say, you know, why can't you see, or why can't your loved one see? Well, it's LHON. What's that? Right? We're all ambassadors for LHON. We're constantly answering the question, and I just happen to do it fairly vocally on social media and on television and anywhere I can get, because the more people who know about this, I think the better off we all are. And also connecting with UMDF, starting this conference last year, doing it again this year. It's a role that I choose to play in this world. In my LHON goals, my goal is to connect the LHON community, support research, educate carriers, so that people, protect and reduce their risk, and overall just make the LHON experience as positive as it can possibly be. Hey, we're here. Let's make the best of it. One of the great things about having the LHON.org website and having the registration page is that I get to meet people when they register. And last year, there was a newly affected woman who registered, and she happens to live near me in San Diego, California. And so I had the opportunity to reach out, meet her in person, and enlist her support in organizing this meeting. And thanks to social media, many of you know her as Girl Gone Blind. And I'd like you to meet Maria Johnson.
Thank you very much, Lissa. Yes, I am the girl from the Girl Gone Blind blog. I am also a wife, a mother of 2 great kids, a daughter, sister, friend, fitness instructor, and I'm affected by LHON. Last April 2013, I was a mom on the go, teaching tons of classes every week, taking care of business, just doing it all, taking care of my family. And I noticed a small blurry spot in my right eye. Well, like many moms, we're busy. We can't be bothered with what's going on with ourselves, so we ignore stuff. And I ignored it for about a month, and then it just wasn't going away. So I made an appointment with my optometrist, and he examined my eyes and couldn't find anything wrong, so I got referred to ophthalmology. I got to the ophthalmologist, and he ran the usual tests, including that super fun visual field, and everything came back normal and negative. But that visual field test showed I was losing central vision in my right eye. Well, then he ordered an MRI of my brain. And like many of you, they think you have a brain tumor or something else going on to cause your vision loss. Well, luckily that came back normal, and we were still sitting there wondering, why was a 50-year-old woman losing her vision? I have no family history. No one else in my family has gone blind. So that's when I was referred to my neuro-ophthalmologist, Dr. Ken Kubis in San Diego. And when I went to see him on September 2nd, he did the exam, looked at my chart, looked in my eyes, and he could see there was something going on with my optic nerves. I was down to counting fingers on my right eye, and a small blurry spot had started in my left. So he knew he had to take action really, really quick, because I was losing my vision and we didn't know why. So I went through more and more tests, more MRIs, a spinal tap, and it seemed like hundreds of blood tests. One of those blood tests was for a rare genetic condition that causes blindness. And I don't have to tell you which one that was. And the tests started coming back. Normal, negative, within range. Nothing was showing up. Why was a healthy 50-year-old woman losing vision still? Well, I got a call one night at home on September 24th from my doctor, and my genetic test had come back, and it tested positive for LHON. I was 50 years old, I was a woman, I was way out of the range of who normally got affected. So he was shocked, I was shocked, and we had no idea what we were actually getting into. He told me to go ahead and start looking it up on the internet, and he didn't want to overwhelm me, and we could talk later. So that's what we did. We found the LHON.org website and the LHON Facebook page. We noticed on that Facebook page there was a woman that was posting a lot about LHON, and she seemed to know quite a bit. And she lived in San Diego. And hey, that's where we live. And I knew I had to reach out to Lissa. So I immediately did and said, I had just been diagnosed. I live in San Diego. We need to talk. And we did. And Lissa told me lots and lots and lots of things about LHON, and I took pages and pages and pages of notes, because I could still see when I could write the notes at that time. And as we finished our conversation, I remember her saying, Maria, you're gonna need some time to get your head wrapped around this, and I have a feeling we'll be talking in the future. Well, I took those notes and I shoved them to the side and thought, okay, that's great. And I'll kind of get to that stuff because I'm a busy mom, and I got this. This is not going to be a big deal. I got everything else under control, and I'm going to still drive, and it's going to stay just like this, and I can still see pretty good, and I got this. Well, as the weeks and days went by, I did not have this, and my vision became progressively worse. And on November 8th, at a doctor's appointment, I was deemed legally blind. And I remember sitting in that chair, in tears, saying, how could I be blind? How could this happen to me? I cannot believe I'm blind. Well, as I said, I was a mom on the go. I was teaching fitness classes every day of the week, taking care of everything, and now I had just celebrated my 50th birthday, and my world was falling apart. I couldn't take my kids or pick them up from school. I couldn't take them to their appointments or their activities or drop them off at a friend's house. I couldn't just run to the store to pick up a couple of things, hit Target, and then hit Starbucks and come home. I was teaching fitness classes 5 days a week. How was I going to get to the gym to teach my classes? This was so overwhelming to me, because those were the mom things that I did, or the things that I still did for my job, my career as a fitness instructor. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, that just got difficult. Cooking, I was never a good cook. And now I am really bad. And I tell you, ingredients and food just disappears on the countertop, and things that are cooking on the stove, I can't tell if they're raw or if they're cooked, and the appliances just got hard to manage. Things just got difficult. Things took twice as long, 3 times, 5 times as long to do. And I would get frustrated very, very quickly. And that wasn't pretty, because blind girl tizzy fits, not pretty. So I was thinking about the one thing I really wanted to keep doing, and that was teach fitness classes. I had to tell my fitness members, my gym, you know, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to teach these classes, because I can't get to the gym on my own anymore. And they rallied around me and said, we will not be having any of that. We are going to get you to class. And I now have students pick me up and take me home after every class I teach. So I am still able to teach group fitness to this day. When you lose your vision at any age, it brings on a whole bunch of mental issues, and I have my share. One of the things I thought I could do to help myself was to maybe start writing about it, a blog. I thought it would be fun and therapeutic for me to share my feelings and my blind girl experiences, good, bad, ugly, funny, all that stuff, with the world, and maybe one or two people might read it. Well, last January, I launched my blog, Girl Gone Blind, and it has been a great success. It's been shared all over the world, and I've received emails and comments from people who are blind or maybe know somebody that's blind, and they tell me that my blog has helped them relate or understand what it's like to lose your vision and become legally blind. I also get a lot of comments just filled with love and support and encouragement, which I appreciate every word of it. This journey was very unexpected, as it is for everybody that becomes affected by LHON. But I hope to inspire, and I hope to set an example, a positive role model, not only for moms of affected, carriers who are moms, but anybody out there that is on this LHON journey. Because I am still learning every day, since I've only been affected or diagnosed affected for a few months, how to live this unexpected life as a blind wife, mother of 2 great kids, fitness instructor, daughter, sister, friend, and that girl from Girl Gone Blind. Thank you.